Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday evening live chat. And it's tonight going to be a rant.
We'll see.
We'll see. You can all rant if you want. I hope you're doing great. Luckily, I see there's quite a few people commenting from the public. Let's just go into live chat. But we have about 50 people in the chat now. Hopefully, more people will join us. Our past live chats have really started to do well. We're getting over 3,000 views, but we need to up that. We need more people to know about the things that we're talking about. We need your help for that. So we need you to share these links like you did back in the day so that we can get the information out, because we're at war with a bunch of people that care nothing for us. Lauren's got a burnt finger, so she's sitting with an ice pack.
Yes.
Hi. So let's see if we can get over 200 people into this live stream. There we have over 70 people that have joined us now. What are we going to be talking about tonight?
The Constitutional Court ruling on the Electoral Amendment Act.
It might sound boring to you, but this is like serious stuff.
It sounds very boring, and I think that's why most people won't be interested in something like this. However,
you absolutely should be.
Our undemocracy just got worse.
Yes, a lot worse.
Yes, and we'll discuss the nuts and bolts of that.
Yeah.
I burned my finger making supper because my two children were conversing with me while I was thinking about very deep and complex things. And I just want to know to all the mothers out there, when last did you actually have a complete thought?
In the midst of dealing with children.
I don't until it's bedtime for them.
So to all the moms out there, can you actually get a thought for yourself? But we're going to dissect things for you, because we've been handed a turd that's been presented as a diamond.
Yeah, but it's not.
And the media ran with it. I think only News 24...
I definitely want to discuss the media's role in this.
I think only News 24 actually misunderstood as well, because interestingly enough, whoever the journalist was seemed excited that they thought the ruling was for parties and for independent candidates, and then later they had to retract, and then all media spun the same story.
This is a real live case study of how the public is fooled by various role players acting simultaneously.
And the whole public now thinks, oh, great, something wonderful was done. And we're going to tell you how horribly this was actually subverted. When I looked at the ruling and I actually read it, shock and horror came over my face. In fact, I think I shouted to you in the distance trying to reach you.
And I thought I made a spelling mistake on one of our posts.
Or something. And it was horror, dread, shock when it dawned on me the perfect subversion that had just taken place. That from an awesome event, how it is just actually far worse than anything we could have imagined.
When I started home, I had no idea that there was some clever person out there set on changing the electoral system using the legal system. And we'll discuss that, and we'll discuss why that's not wise. And it's just very frustrating. And yeah, it's just, this is why a lot of people need to understand the importance of following the best strategy out there.
Yeah,
you have to.
As St. George Jones says, this is why OM exists, because of this. Exactly. So it's just vindicated again. Wow. Where do we begin?
I don't know where we should begin. There's so much. Should I actually go get the act that I printed?
You don't have to get the act. I mean, I've kind of got it memorized.
Was the case designed in a subverted way? So Des and I were having that discussion earlier. And so, is it purposefully created to be subverted, or is it ignorance?
There's two separate cases that were brought. And the one case, we didn't actually understand how Parliament has been set up since. I don't think anyone understood, not even the IEC. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think everyone was confused. So I can tell you, not a single person in Parliament came up with this plan. This was handed to them, which means that people that wanted to subvert Ohm's plan has literally conspired against what the plan that you came up with. And the interesting thing is, it looks like Moses Memani's OSA, who later became BOSA as a political party, registered with the IEC, has moved closer and closer to what Omi is trying to do. And I find this fascinating, actually. In some of the comments that he's made over time, how he's moved as a person and how he's been isolated because of that. Because that's the first thing you can see. Once someone gets isolated, you know they're on the right track. And so the case that One South Africa, which is an MPC, not the party BOSA, brought before the ConCourt was a simple one. They wanted the signatures reduced. And they actually said they think 1,000 is fair, and that's what was given. They asked for parties and independent candidates to be reduced to 1,000 because BOSA is a party. They don't want to go and get 14,000 signatures, which is practically impossible. It's not completely impossible. With a lot of work and effort, one can absolutely do it. But it's time you are not campaigning, okay? Or putting all your effort into campaigning.
There's so much else one can do. And for smaller parties with less resources, as prepping candidates, that takes a lot of time.
It's basically cutting them out.
Yeah, fundraising.
But now we've realized that they actually want these independent candidates. And what they've done is they've split Parliament in two.
It's brilliant.
200 seats for independent candidates and all parties, and 200 seats just for parties. So no independent candidate.
And 200 seats just for independents?
Yes. 200 seats, no, for independents or parties.
Yes.
And 200 seats just for parties.
Okay, yes.
Which means that independents can never, ever get the majority. Okay? And that makes it impossible to ever vote an independent president into office, because parties will always have the control unless that independent is beholden to those parties. And there's rumors in the media right now that one specific person that is a New World Order stooge 100%, and now we're going to get a banner underneath our video.
Thanks.
Is working with this new super moon freaking shine pact, moonshine pact, that the DA and all these other idiots have come up with, and that they are looking at an independent candidate to put forward as president, because no one can imagine Steenhuisen being the president of the country. I mean, really. The man couldn't be president even if he wanted. So he was even entertaining that they were open to consider other people. But it means that what Omi is trying to do is just totally subverted in this new system.
I would like to discuss both strategies, Omi's strategy and the New Nation Movement strategy, in changing the system so that we can just put
but that's Michael Louis. We need to separate what Michael Louis did in the case versus...
in my mind, the brainchild or mastermind that initiated...
Well, they kicked him to touch.
Got this whole ball rolling to begin with.
Yes.
From the beginning. And
the subversion, he wanted parties to remain.
Yeah.
He's not kicking parties out.
So Sean agrees with you. With the guy that's going to be president. I think we need to just give context to people that maybe don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So we have an electoral act that we've had since 1994, which lays out how elections take place. It says in the Constitution that any human being, any adult, any South African citizen that's registered to vote can stand for public office. That's our constitutional right. However, because we're a multi-party democracy, as also stated in the Constitution, before these changes happened, the only way to participate in politics is to start your own political party. So luckily, unlike Namibia, for instance, South Africa is unique in that they don't care how your leadership structure is set up. They don't care what you do internally. You register as a party. You can appoint your mother as the secretary general. You can appoint your auntie as the deputy chair, whatever. They don't care.
You must just have a founding meeting.
2 people on the executive. You can have 200 people on the executive. It doesn't matter. They don't care. Then you must have a constitution. So
a party constitution.
It costs 500 Rand to register a party. And in the past, it was 500 signatures, but since August 2021, they changed it to 1,000 signatures from people saying you're okay.
Have you confirmed that?
Yes.
Okay.
Saying that they, support the registration of your political party. That's how easy it is. Anyone here can go and register a political party. You can just get people at your church to sign your little 1,000 people thing and their family. And so it was always easy to participate in the electoral system, but not as an independent. So in 2017, actually the same year, I came up with the idea for OM. I quit DA and my job in the city and started OM at the end, or started the concept. I was like, I'm going to start something new. It was a seed in my mind, which grew until we registered in 2018. And so
December of 2018, so
December,
same month,
yeah.
5 years now.
So in that same year, New Nation Movement put forward a challenge that to the Constitutional Court that the Electoral Act is unconstitutional, because even though we're a multi-party system, it is contradictory that people have the right to stand for public office.
It was first the Cape High Court. And then it moved on, yeah.
But they can't do so as independents. They have to do so as part of a political party. And so he thought he was improving the electoral system. And so the ConCourt ruled not too long ago. Do you remember what year it was? 2021? 2022?
2021,
yes. In 2021, the Constitutional Court ruled that independents must stand. And they gave Parliament a certain amount of time to figure out how they're going to change the Electoral Act to reflect this new demand that independents must be able to run within our multi-party system. And so, like has been famously said, it's giving wolves the right to make laws for the sheep. And Parliament went and made sure that it's very difficult for any competition to rise up and get a seat in Parliament or a number of seats in Parliament. So we'll discuss the nitty-gritty about that, because the way it's set up now, it's just got worse and worse and worse and worse. So with the changes Parliament enacted, they said not just independent candidates, but new parties also need to get 15% of the amount of votes in the previous election for a specific region. So for Gauteng, it's the highest number, the highest quota. If you want to contest to be in National Assembly, which is Parliament, then you have to take the highest quota, the highest region, which happens to be in Gauteng, at 14,000. 13,890 or something along those lines. Yeah. And then you have to get that amount of signatures. And so this is MPs, ANC, DA, EFF, ACDP, Freedom Front Plus, Al Jamar. I don't know who else. I can't remember. COPE.
Good.
IFP, UDM, all of them, you were united. They were like, okay, guys, we can't let any more in. We don't want to share the piece of the pie. We want
and all of them
the
agreed. No one have fought against this.
No.
So if you support any of these parties, think about what they've done.
They have absolutely undermined your right to a thriving democracy, every single one of them. They saw the threat. They know people are tired of them. They know that Action SA and a lot of good is also in there now, but lots of other newer parties are
Patriotic Alliance,
a massive competition for them.
Yeah.
And they know their time's up. So they all banded together, united against the people of South Africa, and ruled on these things that make it almost impossible for any new blood to enter Parliament. And with the independent candidates, the cherry on the top, as you have pointed out, it's so much harder. So the ruling was, and this is what has had us researching this in depth.
Yeah.
The ruling yesterday was that independents now only have to get 1,000 signatures.
They've made it easy for independents to enter, but not competitive parties, which eliminates Action SA, which say they already have their 14,000 signatures. It's only one out of the lot, okay?
Amazing.
BOSA, UIM, who's part of the Moonshot Pact.
Yeah.
Who's that other idiot?
Spectrum.
Who's also part of the Moonshot Pact. They all have to now get 14,000 signatures, and it's not going to be easy for any of them to do that. Plus, they added that the person must support.
That's open to interpretation.
Yes,
but
of
anyway,
course.
we'll get into that nitty-gritty. Someone just asked, was the Freedom Front Plus also part of this group? This
Yes.
group being the Moonshot Pact or the group that made this
No,
change?
the Freedom Front Plus is in Parliament. So all the parties in Parliament supported this.
Yep.
And after the ruling came out, they all cheered because they had just screwed over every other party outside of Parliament trying to get in when they are getting taxpayers' funding.
So this is the first big thing that makes our current system undemocratic. Political parties get millions every single year. National elections are every 5 years. So imagine the collection of funds every 5 years just from taxpayers' money. Any new political party gets none of that funding. Already that makes the playing field completely uneven
Totally.
and undemocratic. On radio stations, on TV, all political parties have the right to get free coverage on the media, but the best slots
Absolutely.
go to the, they say it's equitable, but the best spots go to the parties with the highest seats. That's not equitable. That's the opposite of equitable.
Old Boys Club, yes, it is a monopoly. I call it a gang system, the party gang system. Now, many of the parties that want things changed still wanted to make room for parties to exist with independent candidates. And this is why we're sitting with a mess. And Lauren has said from the beginning that Ohm's plan is to get rid of all parties. And all they've done now is subverted that completely. They're allowing in independent candidates, make it easy for them. They cannot get more than 200 seats. The ConCourt ruled against that change because OSA actually asked for it to be changed to 350 that independent candidates can have, and 50 that's just for MPs. And the ConCourt threw that out.
But the thing is, if people are not voting for independence, parties will still get those seats.
Correct.
So it's not like it's unfair to political parties.
No, political parties actually gain.
Yeah.
If any votes that an independent gets additional to what they need for their seat is being distributed amongst the parties that didn't work for the votes,
From the biggest to the
from
smallest.
the biggest to the smallest, proportionally divided amongst them. It's like sit back and get the votes. It's absolute, it's skullduggery. I mean, at the highest level.
It can be planned better.
Yeah.
Okay, but don't you think we already have far too many parties? Well, we don't have parties that are working for the people in any way.
But what does that mean? We have too many parties. Quantify that statement in a democracy. Do you believe in democracy or not? If you don't agree in democracy, then being part of this discussion is pointless. We don't believe that we have a democratic system right now. The only democratic thing you can do is to vote. People are attacking democracy again everywhere.
Oh, trust me, man.
Everywhere, democracy is being attacked when we don't have democracy.
Okay, this is what people need to understand. Democracy isn't a specific system to implement. It's an ideology to strive toward. How you strive toward that democracy will differ from person to person, country to country. It's the democratic principles you want in your state. Now, we have communists and socialists and theocracists making decisions in government and trying to create a paradigm that they call democracy, but where they have ultimate power. They want power and control. It's disgusting. And unfortunately, that's what you have when a person with a small mind is put in a leadership position. They want to control.
I like that. And there is more parties, more varieties.
I agree.
So, to me, in a true democracy, the more people can give their thoughts, the easier you can rectify things. And this is why, actually, what it boils down to is every person should be a party currently to change the system to one where you just directly elect the people. And that is literally possible, except for one problem. You're going to have to get your auntie and your chicken and whatever to be part of your command team and your founding meeting or something like that.
So let's just look at strategy quickly.
Explain to them why you decided to register a party to get rid of parties. I think that will maybe make things more clear.
Well, the most obvious one is if you do it through the electoral system, the international community sees it as legitimate. Easy peasy. Secondly, because, so that's why I want to look at the strategy. I have actually met Michael Louie at one of these New Nation Movement meetings, but it was very brief. I don't know him. I don't know his history in wanting to change the electoral system. But I will deeply, and even if I had to speak to him, deeply criticize his approach, because he tried, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he is a lawyer, so he obviously is comfortable in that environment, the legal environment. He probably has faith in the legal environment somehow. So he used the legal system to change the political system, the Electoral Act. And what happens when you do that? You put the motion forward at whatever authority, and then you're at the mercy of the very people you're against. Because obviously, I'm guessing, if I have to get into his mind, that he wanted to allow independence because he's not happy with the current system. Because he's not happy with the people in parliament currently. He's not happy with how the electoral system works. He's not happy with our current democracy. So when he went through the legal system, he put himself and the rest of the country and all the voters at the mercy of the very people we do not trust with power. And then they use their power to change the Electoral Act to completely
shaft us,
destroy what little we have left of democracy.
Yeah. So the parliament within which Ohm wanted to change things is now changed.
But anyway, I wanted to compare that to Ohm's strategy, which is a bit of a longer fight, which I understand people don't really always have patience for, the average general public. But with Ohm,
they won't have a choice.
We get a seat or 2 or 3 or 10 into parliament. So we become the parliamentarians who have a say in how the Electoral Act is changed. It's a night and day strategy. Ohm's strategy is a much longer game, but it will actually bear good fruit in the end. And, the impatience of people frustrates me, because people want change right now, but that change isn't necessarily in your best interests.
I think many of the players in this...
Correct, Grasshopper. There is no democratic country in the world.
No, there's none. Currently, if you look at how this ConCourt ruling came out, I think in hindsight, these people are looking at it and thinking, oh my word, what have we done? I think they are shell-shocked, to be honest.
Yes.
I actually spoke to the spokesperson of BOSA this morning, someone that Lauren knew from the past. And I think it's going to take a while for them to let it sink in and decide what to do. And hopefully we can get someone from their party on to actually interview them about this.
Okay, Charles is asking, what is Ohm's strategy? Brief description. Our strategy, instead of attacking the electoral system through the judicial system or the legal system, we want to change the electoral system by being in it ourselves. That's why we registered as a movement, as a political party, so that we can get representation in parliament and get that support on the ground for the changes we want.
You're still allowed to change the constitution.
Yes.
No matter the makeup of parliament now.
So what we want to do, and I think we're still on track for that. Pending the 14,000 signatures, we're 100% still on track. What we want to do is change the constitution of South Africa and change the electoral system of South Africa. Changing the constitution. Why? If you read the constitution, you'll see everything about governance is set out there. How government is divided, the separation of powers, military, intelligence, SAPs, all of it is set out in the constitution. So we want to change a lot about how government is run, the philosophy of government itself, and how government is structured in the country. Remarkably different. We'll be launching our exact blueprint early next year, which we hope that all South Africans, every single South African, can get behind, because I believe that this is a step towards a society that helps humanity to progress closer to where we should be going.
I think it's important that timing is done correctly. A lot of people want things to happen now, and often you need the mess to be enacted by all the other players first. And when that everyone's got bloody noses, you can come out. You can literally change an election within 2 months. You don't need more time than that. Within 2 months, if you can enter the mainstream with a bang, with an idea that transforms how people think because of the crap that everyone else has played out, you can change that election.
Okay, so I remember Andrews asked about an online signing platform for the signatures for the IEC.
They're busy with it.
So when I phoned the IEC, they were like, no, you're going to be able to submit your forms online. But now we're reading in the news that they are busy with some kind of online platform. It sounds like maybe you're going to have to sign in as a voter, and then you're going to have to choose.
And then you can literally go to the party and you can electronically sign your support for
I
them.
don't know if we should trust that.
Well, it depends on what you have to give. I think they just said it's the same thing. Your name, your ID number,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Oh, thanks, Marlene. I forget. New people don't get that stuff. So whoever asked about our strategy, Marlene just reminded me. So what we want to do, the changes we want to make to the Constitution, the biggest change we want to make is get rid of political parties so that there are only independent candidates. So political parties won't be recognized by government anymore. There won't be any funding going towards politics from a government
So all
perspective.
that money will be saved.
Yes, you'll vote directly for your president, and then all your public representatives, you'll vote directly for them. We have been discussing time ago,
Bradley.
years ago, we were discussing what would be our entry requirements for candidates, because you do want a filtering system, because you don't want to waste your time, because the IEC will exist in a new shape, in a new form, and will also require taxpayers' money to run. But we don't want to waste the IEC, the new IEC's time with endless people with illusions of grandeur. So you do want a filtering system, and our filtering system was, we said 5,000 signature for presidential candidates, which I believe is in
Fair.
a 5-year term is very fair to obtain, and 2,000 for members of parliament. Depending on the size of the municipality, between 500 and 2,000 for mayors. And for councillors, I can't remember, it was like 100 or 200, maximum 500 for councillors, depending on the size of your constituency.
But it's fair.
So that was our requirement.
Yeah.
We were still arguing over the money.
But I mean, those things will be discussed, obviously.
Yeah, but that's
time.
just, I mean, that's
What
us.
I will recommend.
You're looking at the actual administrative nightmare for the IEC to process. Say there are 100 presidential candidates. Now they must process 5,000 signatures times 100. I mean, the manpower. Now you have to do that for all the MPs and everything as well. So it's a very administrative intensive process. That alone, you don't want to take too long and be too cumbersome. Then you've got the actual time it takes. For me, getting signatures for OHM, 500 when we registered, probably got the help of about 2 other people. It took us 3 months to get 500 signatures. Oh my goodness. And now we need to get 14,000 in probably 6 months. Wow.
But Michael Louis, what did he calculate?
Michael Louis calculated, and I'm glad he did this calculation. If you employ 50 people to get 14,000 signatures, he calculated it's going to take 6 months. So, disaster. But I think with enough efforts, we'll get there. We just going to have to include the signature with campaigning.
Yeah, but we're going to need everyone's help. When that electronic platform is available, people need to go there and go.
But we can't wait for that either.
So no. In the meantime, it's happening. But welcome to everyone that's joined us. We're almost at 200. We only have 87 likes. We want as many people as possible to watch us. This really is going to affect our future. And the people in Parliament now are trying everything in their power to hang on. And this is not just the ANC people. This is all of them there.
They are not threatened by independence. So please understand that.
So I mean, this is the African National Congress. This is the DA. This is the EFF. This is the IFP, the Freedom Front Plus. It's good. It's COPE. It's Al Jamar. It's the ACDP. The whole bank shoot. Who have I forgotten? Have I mentioned the IFP?
I'm sure you've forgotten lots.
UDM. Yeah, all of them. All 14 parties in Parliament now are very happy with this ruling. And all it's done is given them more power.
Yeah.
And independents will never get anywhere.
Nope.
Will never be able to be a president unless you're a slave of a pact of political parties. So this Moonshot Pact is already talking about roping in an independent person to be their presidential candidate and then run on that platform. It's such a farce.
It's insane.
The UIM is not out. The UIM is part of this Moonshot Pact, but they also now have to get 14,000 signatures.
Scared.
Yeah,
where's your mouth? Oh, there. Yeah, so any party that hasn't got a seat.
The UIM hasn't got a seat in Parliament right now, so they need to now also get 14,000 signatures, or 13,900 and something.
Yeah.
I'm sure Neil de Beer is going to be pretty peeved about that.
Everyone is.
Yeah. And Sebastian C.B. Peterson and all these party leaders. Herman Mashaba says he's got these 14,000 signatures, so he's sorted. Well, they got massive funding from the Oppenheimers.
Oh, wonderful. I need another one.
So, okay. Go fetch. Must I go fetch for you quickly? I'll go fetch for you.
Okay.
This is your topic.
Yep. This
Your
bag.
speciality.
Oh,
So, Lawrence, new ice pack coming up.
thank you. So, how does everyone feel about this? I was so excited when I read the first news article because they erroneously said that this applies to political parties as well. And then I think it was News 24 that was like, oh, we made an error. If you read the actual ruling, it applies only to independents. So, we as OHM have been trying for a long time to get 14,000 signatures. We're on about 503, so it's going slow. So to get the other 14,000, we were so relieved that that burden was gone. And then I immediately thought, yes, I can focus on preparing our candidates. If we can have candidates prepped before, the middle of January, then it's going to make the rest of the campaign a lot easier. But now we're back to focusing on the 14,000. Okay, so where did that number come from, the 14,000? They took the amount of votes in a specific region across the country. So in different regions, there's a certain amount of votes that allowed a party to get the smallest party to get a seat. 15% of that number is the quota. That's how they got to 14,000. So if you want to contest National Assembly, you have to get the quota of the region with the highest requirement. We could have had a coalition with other parties to gather signatures. Yeah, but which party is going to say goodbye to their identity? You can only do that by forming one party. So that's not going to happen.
So at this stage, I think it's going to be important to find other people that want to change the system and work with them and really work the public to understand what has happened and make as much noise as possible, literally everywhere.
Yeah, so I'll think about the action steps going forward. I have some ideas. Grasshopper.
Trevor Pennells.
But didn't they say it's 1,000 until Parliament? So here's what's interesting. Grasshopper asked a very valid question, and this is how I understood it until I read further. Grasshopper is asking, but didn't they say it's 1,000 until Parliament comes up with a better arrangement?
They said it's 1,000 only for independence.
No, well, they're only making a specific part of the new Electoral Act invalid.
And that's the one for independence.
3(1)A, if I'm not mistaken, and that only applies to
independent candidates. And I wasn't sure, is this an omission? Because when the judge spoke, he spoke of both the parties and independent candidates. And then when he came to the ruling, it was cut out.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So yes. I was up until all hours watching the stuff last night, this morning, whichever one it is. I'll talk about how you guys can get signatures to me soon. I watched ENCA and I think it was News 24 or one of the others. I can't remember the name. Anyway, it's an hour and a half long ruling judgment that they're giving. And two judges were speaking. When on both of the live streams, when the dude gets to the part where he's about to speak about the signature requirement, it cuts out for about, 2, 3, 4 minutes. And then it continues again. And I found that very suspicious. And then News 24 after that, News 24 retracted their statement. So I smell foul play here.
So News 24 even thought that it was for parties and independent candidates. The headline read that.
But why is it missing? Why is that live stream segment missing?
I have no idea. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
On two different platforms.
Yeah, well.
So ENCA will have their own little journalist with the camera. And I don't know if it was News 24 or one of the others, but they'll have their own little journalist with the camera. And how is it that both of them cut out at the same time?
I don't know.
Technical people out there, let me know what your theories are. That's very strange.
Please, people, if you like more, we have 181 people watching now. If you can like this video, more people will see this afterwards. You also please need to share this. We have to start a massive effort to educate the public on what is happening right now and start a movement second to none. We're going to need your help, everyone's help that finds this unfair. And I believe there's more and more people coming towards what OMI is trying to do. Anyone that really cares about the country will adopt what OMI is doing, or try and copy what OMI is doing. Either way, we are creating awareness for direct elections through many different avenues. And with those seeds that were planted, that you helped us plant, I mean, you people put in hours and hours and hours in sharing posts and videos, we have made a difference. We've made an impact to the point where Parliament has to fight us this hard.
So Andrew says impossible for it to happen with 2 independent news agencies. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's why I'm suspicious. So I couldn't hear with my ears what the ConCourt judge said with regards to the signature amounts. He was speaking about parties and independents.
It's almost as if the ruling that they released afterwards was changed.
Yes. And that part was blacked out.
Yes,
to
what
make
he
life
actually
hard.
said.
So then I went and looked at the actual ConCourt ruling in words and Parliament's statement. So the statement of the briefing was on the parliamentary website. I shared quotes from that on our area rep Russell group. And they stated that, so they talk about parties, they talk about independents, they talk about the quota that's required is going to be rendered invalid because of the time and the constraints, and there shouldn't be obstacles to the democratic process. But then right at the end, they say, so now independent candidates only have to...
It's like parties were just forgotten,
and because they
omitted.
Because they quoted a specific part of the new Electoral Act, that specific part only applies to candidates, meaning...
Independent candidates, yeah.
Independent candidates, meaning that we just left out of the picture. So...
It's like the news stations, News 24 was baffled, whoever was doing the reporting.
Yeah.
Because it didn't make sense to them. It's almost like, oops, they had to retract at the end of the article. They actually said that earlier we incorrectly reported that it included new parties as well as independent candidates, and subsequently the ruling has proved that we were wrong and we had to change our headline.
It'll be a huge help to speak to one of the applicants who were present at the ruling to confirm the original judgment.
Yeah, so I did speak to the spokesperson for BOSA this morning. I had a conversation with him and sent him a formal mail, a request for interview. So I hope that someone, either spokesperson or Musi Memani or someone from BOSA, will come on this channel and we can ask them about how they feel about what happened. And we would really like to hear what they have to say. At this stage, I think everyone that wants our system changed to any degree, they might not be fully aligned with what OMI is doing. I think we need to give them a voice. And I think we can work together to overturn this current system we are in. And I think most people will agree with the own plan. Once you explain it to someone, it's obvious. It's not complicated. It's very straightforward. Yeah. I've not had a single person argue against it and say, no, this is a bad idea. No one. Once you explain
it. I think so. And that's why once next year begins, January, we're very excited to present the blueprint through which we will create the new government system. So I can't wait for that. I want you to answer some questions. Oh, so how can you get our signature? How can we get your signature for the elections? There's various ways. I can email you the form. You can sign, maybe get a few friends and family to sign, and then scan it back to us.
You must be a registered voter.
You have to be a registered voter, and you can register online.
The other thing is you must now be registered in the region and vote in the region where you were registered originally. This is a big thing that's changed now. We mustn't forget to actually mention that.
Yes, this is new for national.
Because of the split thing, district thing that they're doing now.
Everyone I have talked to liked the idea of OMI. That's awesome, Andres.
Grasshopper's asking for you to explain the own plan.
Okay, but just with the signature, so that's one option. The other option is let me know where you are. If we have an area rep, they can drive out to you and get your signature. So we can go the scanning electronic option, or we can go someone actually comes to you. And
we can't wait for the system to be online.
No, there's no time. So now, just before we get to the own plan, it'll be great to end off with the own plan. Parliament, the people in Parliament currently are now pushing the president to release the election date because only the president can declare. He has the authority to declare when the election's happening.
And they're going to want it as early as possible, so as early as May, we could have elections.
So they made it very difficult for new parties, and now they're trying to rush the election date
As fast as possible.
Beautiful.
So 22nd of May has been mooted as a date. Let's just have a look and see when that is. I know Thabo Mbeki has asked for it to be moved to November. In other words, giving people more time. 22nd of May is a Wednesday. Oh, Lord.
Bye.
So August is the latest that it can take place.
Yeah.
So Thabo Mbeki wants it to happen later. I'm not sure that they're going to listen to him.
I don't think it'll really truly be in winter because of weather.
Yeah.
St. John's, that's exactly what Des suggested. Area instigator.
Instigator, yeah. I like that.
It was supposed to be on 4th of May.
So Audrey also had to change. So people, please, don't think that you're registered to vote where you're supposed to be. Go online and make sure that you are registered again. It's not like before you can rock up anywhere in the country and vote. Things have changed, okay? We actually need to shout this from the rooftops. I think a lot of people are going to be in trouble.
We'll have to do a breakdown of how this works.
Go and register. Go to the IEC website and just do it.
Change your address.
Yeah.
So if you type in your address, it'll update you. Ian's asking, would OM have to have an outright majority within the current system? That's definitely one way of doing it, but no, you don't have to have an outright. So we have two options. One is having an outright majority, and that would equate to a couple of million votes. It depends on where you're drawing votes from. The other option is to just get representation, put the bill forward, and then
lobby for support.
Work your butt
like
off,
Abraham
lobbying.
Lincoln did for abolition of slavery in the US. Then lobby other people for that change. And that is certainly possible now in the situation we find ourselves in the country. And the aim was always for 2026 to be the transition period where things really started changing if you look at time frames. So 2024 was a time to get representation in Parliament.
Get a foot in the door.
Get a foot in the door.
2029 was for the overall thing.
Yeah, for everything to
change.
be changed already.
Maybe put a link also. So Lizette, from OM side of things, kicking off early January, we will be on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram.
On the OM's website, I think your register to vote link is there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So, but we'll use all our platforms to educate the voter. Starting early Jan. If you put your ID, it tells you where you're registered to vote. That's correct.
Yeah. And then you can re-register in your area if it's outside of that. Teal as a tax system.
Well done, David.
I have no opinion on any financial systems. I've seen so many people come up with so many different ideas and concepts. And you know, those things can be had out with the independent candidates in the new system. That's what I believe will happen. People will sit around a table in this new system. You won't have this party gang system just fighting each other in Parliament, and proper discussions will be had. It'll be very, very different because when you have independent candidates in Parliament, they will actually have debates about things.
Yeah.
I can't wait to actually see that maturity
Me too.
take place. And especially the other recommendations that OM has.
Remember, European countries, the West, do not want South Africa to prosper.
No.
Always remember that. They are not on our side.
They want us to be
so
weak.
They will fund what will destroy us. They will not fund what will empower us.
Primetime TV, hopefully that'll happen.
As in, do you mean primetime? Is there a specific channel called primetime? But Mike, yes, we will obviously try to target mainstream media leading up to the elections.
Yeah,
we've
absolutely.
never contested a national.
So this is the first time, yeah.
No, we've never done.
Because you registered just before 2019, so there wasn't enough time then.
Yeah.
So this is the first time, and this is OM's main mandate: is national elections.
I know.
Because OM isn't fighting other parties. Yes. OM is trying to get rid of parties, including itself.
Yes. Yeah. We will be made.
So OM will cease to be a party in future.
Okay, so let me just maybe explain it as briefly as possible because we got asked that earlier.
Yeah, the non-voters, Andries, absolutely. That's very important to understand. I think social media is going to play a huge role.
There are double the amount of people eligible to vote that don't than there are
Yeah.
ANC voters. So that should give you hope.
The African National Congress has just over 30% of the eligible voters in the country. That gives you a completely different perspective. The DA is like less than 10%, literally. So that's the reality of eligible voters. So once you look at it like that, it's a totally different picture. Because at the moment, they will tell you now, out of the people that did vote, these are our percentages.
Andres, this
But
is
they
going to
are
have
pathetic.
to. I must make a T-shirt. If you hate politics, vote Ohm. I love that.
Absolutely.
It'll definitely get people talking.
That should be a slogan everywhere.
Yes.
If you hate politics, vote Ohm. I think Andres has come up with one of the best sayings ever.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So with your permission, we'll use that, Andres, everywhere.
Yes, David. Welcome, David, all the way from down under.
So, what's Ohm all about? For those that are absolutely brand new to this channel, lots of the
Welcome and thanks for listening.
Lots of the people in green are very well acquainted with what Ohm is all about, and I sometimes forget. We speak about it and we throw the name around, but we never actually explain.
This is a public live stream.
Yes, it's public, not Thursday night members. So I have experience in politics spanning from 2014, first as a volunteer, then employed in the political realm, disliking what I saw within the political realm and seeing that every party is subject to the same nonsense. I quit and started a movement called the Organic Humanity Movement. And I registered with the IEC as a national political party. And
to end all political parties.
So it's a multifaceted vision. We want to, we first recognize the united global power acting against organic humanity. I don't know how else to say it, but organic humanity. If you look
They're going to
at
turn us into robots, literally connecting
the fourth
to our brains.
industrial revolution, UNESCO, and many other things, we are moving in a direction that's unnatural and I think causes great unhappiness for the individual soul and removes our freedom.
So we're not anti-tech. We don't want tech to monitor, track, and trace us and tell us and take our freedom away.
We don't want these megalomaniacs creating our future cities. So what happened then is that looking at the international threat and then also seeing how useless our current government is and seeing how our uselessness in governance here in South Africa serves the needs of global people.
Me and Andres are best buds. I'll also be ruthless, Andres. I can never be in politics.
So with that in mind, I wanted to make sure that for my children especially, future generations have a safe place to live one day and can live in happiness and freedom.
Freedom especially.
Yes. So I want to make sure South Africa can be a strong, independent, sovereign nation. We're not a strong, independent, sovereign nation. We're not strong. We're not independent. We're not sovereign. Okay, sovereign and independent can be used interchangeably. So that's just the starting point to offset global power is for South Africa to be strong, independent, resilient, and all the rest.
So it needs a strong military.
According to Machiavelli, his blueprint is pretty much you need strong laws and strong arms. So how do you translate that into a modern day democracy? You need a strong government with a strong, thriving democratic political system of some kind. We don't have either of those. And so if you work your way from the big picture all the way down...
Strong government needs to be the people in the case of Rome.
Yes, definitely. But also a strong government structure. With a government philosophy. So our government philosophy, and this will be highlighted in the blueprint we'll be releasing to the public early next year. Our philosophy is that government needs to get smaller over time. As government gets smaller, people will rise to the occasion to solve problems in the community, wherever there might be problems.
While they are being educated.
Yes. So I do believe that in the very beginning, there'll be a funny, messy transition period where a lot of people are right now dependent on the government, on grants, on everything. Government needs to solve this problem. Government needs to solve that problem. We have to wean people off government to the point where they act in complete independence. So now you need various parameters for this to actually work out. Access to land ownership is one of them. So we also need to create a complete alternative to this urbanization, smart city model that's being reproduced all over the world and create an alternative way of living where prosperity is created where people are living. And that's what we want to do. So after a lot of thinking, I figured out that the best way to do this is through the political system as it stands. You fight it from within. You get into it and change the beast from inside. And I think that is the best way because OM will have candidates. Candidates will go to parliament. The candidates in parliament will put forward this new draft bill, new constitution, bill for the Electoral Act, new constitution blueprint. So there'll be various changes in the constitution. And then using media, using our current support base at that time, we will make sure that we present a strong case that makes sure that the current other MPs also vote for this. It should be like a deal they can't refuse.
Well, it's not just that. They would probably fear their political future if they do not support it. Most people in parliament now would not have been elected independently.
No.
They depend on gut-licking someone in a party to be on that list.
A lot of people would be unemployed, eh? Definitely. So why do it in the electoral system? Why not any other way? My priority, especially as a mother, is to find a solution for this country that is as peaceful as possibly possible. And I think doing it through the electoral system will achieve that. The other thing is the international legitimacy. Because if you do it through the electoral system, they'll be like, okay, hands off. They'll have to resort to other ways of trying to undermine our newfound sovereignty if we do it through the electoral system.
I think you also need to explain the other parallel mission, the social side.
So yes, so we have a few cards up our sleeve in a sense. My finger is terrible.
You can show them what it looks like. It looks really bad.
Okay, yeah, we do need everyone to sign. We need 14,000 signatures. So, parallel mission, and we're starting this in January. Des is going to be leading with it for next year because I'm going to be too busy with elections, so he's going to take the lead on that. We have a citizen empowerment program designed to help any citizen that is part of this to survive anything. And then also to work together in times of crisis to make sure civility is maintained, to make sure that there is some semblance of law and order so that areas don't break down into absolute chaos. And if we have this all over the country, we will be ungovernable in a sense, ungovernable in that no other power, organization, government can exert control over us.
The people will be the first form of government. Andre says something very important here. They cannot fight something that's done through elections. It gives us international legitimacy too. So that whole process is super important, that you do both. And it's not something you can stop.
No. The current social grant system is a perfect example of how to buy voters, not referring to old age grants and the disabled.
Yeah, absolutely. The current ruling party in government, they depend on the social grant system for support. A very good way of buying support.
Yeah, like Independence Day, they had to get inside the alien ship to destroy it.
Yes, absolutely. That is important. If you cannot do it from within, your tactics will never work. It will never be legitimate. When you go from the outside and you try and overthrow something or use force or anything like that, it'll never be seen as legitimate. And you create a void that is filled by a bunch of megalomaniacs. And it's just bad news all around.
TK is asking, Phone Jump need to sign in our municipal area. No, I can scan you the forms and you can sign and scan it back. But just to make life easier for you, if you want, we can try send an area rep if we have an area rep. An area instigator.
Instigator.
So,
what do you call them now?
Area activators. They're area activators. So if you want to be an area activator, call me.
Yes. Activating the area.
That's what you do.
Like a chemical catalyst.
Area activator is someone that just makes sure things are happening in your general municipality.
Who came up with that idea? The activator idea.
Me. What do you mean?
The word activator.
Me? You still argued me on it.
Oh yes. Okay.
You can't print. Okay, so TK, if you can email me or email OM, info@om.org.za.
Every signature matters. Lauren's driving around to people, individuals, to get their signatures because it matters that your name is a part of the names that make that difference. It's a part of history.
So TK, if you can just email me where you are, and I'll see who I can put you in contact with.
But thanks so much for joining us. We're almost at an hour. We don't want to go over an hour. Last time we did.
Yeah, we did.
Are there any last things that you want to discuss with regards to this?
Just know that the people in Parliament, our MPs, our lawmakers, our legislatures, are absolutely undermining your intellect and undermining your right to be free.
All of them.
Because why do they want the power? Because they want to make sure it's easy to make the laws that they feel they want to make to control us, to get as much tax out of us as possible. And
they want to keep their seats in Parliament.
Yeah.
And they want it to be easy because as long as a party is giving it to them, they don't have to work hard. How many of you know all the people in Parliament? Because you saw them on TV actually debating and saying what they stand for? No, you don't know them. Parties create a list of people. They just rock up in Parliament. They then elect the president. What an absolute farce. So it needs to end. And we need to find other people that agree.
But I think
maybe we'll find a few organizations, civil movements, etc., that will support what OMI is doing.
Like you said, this live stream topic might sound very boring, discussing the ConCourt ruling on the changes to the Electoral Act. It might sound very boring to most people. However, if you really understand the ramifications, you should take this very personally. It's a personal attack on your own freedom.
Slap in the face.
And if you can take it personally, I believe that everyone will take the correct action necessary.
We'll get the signatures required, and all we need is 140 people, okay, committing to getting 100 signatures each. So if you get a pledge of 140 people that will get 100 signatures each, and it's possible. I helped to get 80 signatures on my own, asking people wherever, people that I knew, people around you. It's actually not that difficult. Then you have 14,000 signatures.
I'm just putting the email in here. Ferdy and the horse lady. The horse lady, I'll find out if someone's willing to collect signatures from all our members in your area. Then you can just sign with them. Everyone else, info@om.org.za.
So just tell everyone what OM stands for. I mean, OM.
Organic Humanity. Or if you can, I will email you the form. You can print it, sign it, get your parents, family, neighbors,
even if there's just 5 or 6 signatures on there, it adds.
It does add. Yeah, this is going to be many hands do light work kind of scenario. But we would love to still, even though it's 14,000, we'd love to have these signatures by in January latest.
Yeah.
So we can focus properly on
because very soon they're going to give a final amount for the elections. And they might up it to 300,000. I saw something about they're considering 300,000 now instead of 250.
What?
It looks like they might recommend 300,000 instead of 250.
Money?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I saw it there somewhere.
Vivian says, I'm in the Western Cape, Grootbrak River. Will they be voting near here? Depends where you are, but there should be a voting station within a certain amount of kilometers from you. The demarcation board of South Africa works that out. So within, I think, like 5 kilometers or something, there should be a voting station.
Yeah, you can also apply to have them come to you beforehand if you're not able.
Vote,
yes.
Yeah.
So that's possible.
On Sunday, I would love the full Marsha. Where are you? Please remind me. You can just email me if you don't want to stay in the chat. If you are happy to say in the chat where you're from, let us know so I can quickly figure out who's closest to you. On Sunday, we're having 4 birthday parties, own birthday parties around the country. And if you're going to go to one of those, please make sure that you sign as well. All our area reps will have, or area activators will have that. We'll have the forms that you can sign. So we're definitely going to get a little bit of a boost on Sunday. But yeah, I would feel much better if we can have 14,000 by the end of December.
It is 140 people pledging to do 100 signatures each.
Yeah.
That is that simple.
That's simple. Yes. So thank you everyone for being willing to sign. Those that said, we're definitely going to need all the help we can get. And it needs to happen quickly so we can focus on actual campaigning.
So people in the UK that are registered to vote in South Africa, absolutely, they can sign. If you're registered
if they're
to
registered
vote,
to vote, yeah.
yes.
Okay, great. Mr. Panisha, I'll check my emails later.
Okay, thanks so much for that. But it's an hour now. Again, we want to thank you for joining us every Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock. We do this public live chat on various topics. And this was probably the most important topic besides the fact that load shedding has now been declared unconstitutional. So I think next week I want to talk about that.
Especially the technicalities.
Yes, yeah. So next week, join us so I can explain to you if you want to understand load shedding, ESCOM, the whole situation. Join us next week.
You almost said something there that's actually very appropriate.
Situation.
That is going to be a fascinating one. This country is indeed interesting.
But you can talk about the research you did when you were in council.
Yes, because I was given the Smart Living book, all about smart cities and how everything's going to work with green energy and everything.
But I think it's important to tell people what you think should be done.
Hillary, I'll get 100 signatures. That'll be amazing.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
We need more people to pledge. We need 140 people to pledge that they'll get 100 signatures and make that effort, and it'll happen in no time. We'll have it by year end. Smart cities. Absolutely grasshopper. I've messed that up so many times in the past.
When you're very tired.
Yeah. So also, if there's any people you want us to interview, please tell us in the comments. Even after this live has finished, the recording afterwards, tell us in the comments people you would like us to interview, questions you want us to ask them. We are busy contacting people to arrange those interviews. Let's see who's brave enough to come on. It's not going to be a debate. We're not debating anybody. We'll be asking them relevant questions that will help you understand things better and make decisions yourself.
Nella's on 55 signatures. Marsha says she'll also get 100. So thank you everyone in advance for that. I think we can definitely do this. And if everyone gets to work now, we can get it done very quickly.
We're going to get it done. Omi is going to contest these elections because I want to put my cross behind Omi.
Yeah, so my strategy, I'm still think of the details here, but just to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
And guard against future potential attacks on democracy. We can just assume that our lives going to be made harder and harder and harder as these
and we will overcome.
Oligarchs struggle for the last bits of power.
Yeah.
I think they can smell their time's up.
Jasper,
thanks,
awesome.
Jasper.
That's awesome. So this is time, really crunch time now for people to get involved and do this. And in the new year, I can't wait for when Ohm has gazebos and stuff like that to put up.
Yes. So everyone who is wondering about gazebos, they will be ready in January. Lizette, thank you for that advice. I've heard of that before, and I was actually thinking of it in the middle of this live stream. So I'm going to give that a go. Thanks, the horse lady.
Yeah, we still need to get our breakaway outside of holiday season. I just don't seem to get the break. I mean, we are starting the Unit 2 shutdown now on the 11th, and my life will be go, 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 go.
As it always is.
It's just non-stop. Yeah. And you'll see Kuburg is in the news a lot. I often wonder why the people choose the headlines that they choose. Like they say, there were cracks in the Kuburg containment building. Not that there was surface separation because of the rebar underneath. No. It's like the whole thing's cracked open, kind of. That's the kind of image they're trying to portray.
It's
really sickening.
Yes.
Anyway.
It's so sad to see. Oh, yeah, Desmond's...
because the repairs have been done to the outside.
Desmond's... I was just about to mention that, Phil. Desmond's presentation's happening this Saturday on his intelligence background. And just on that, on what you said about Kuburg and with the ConCourt and seeing the weird things in the media. It's sad to see how media dictates public thought.
I will be covering that in detail. I'll be talking about my interaction with the media. All of you will famously know the last interview that Andre de Ruyter had was with Anneke Larsen. Anneke Larsen visited my house a lot. My kids used to call her Tannie Anneke. And yeah, there were things that I told her that she not even dared put on the news. So make no mistake, things are complicated. They are not straightforward. After that presentation, I think a lot of people are going to be aghast at what is happening behind the scenes, how the machinery works. It's going to be no bars hold. I'm not going to expose any people, but the people in the public domain, I will mention their names. I will be mentioning Alec Irwin, Tulani Kabashe, many other people, Eskom CEOs, ministers of public enterprises. All the things that I was involved in, the things that I did back then to make a difference, I'll speak about those things in detail for the first time. So I don't want to put a time limit on how long it's going to
Starts
be.
at 6 p.m.
It starts at 6, yes.
But if you book, Andrew says you'll be with family. If you book, you can watch the recording anytime.
Yeah, you can watch the recording.
You'll have lifetime access to the recording.
Yeah, the recording will be there for people to watch. So join me if you can. It's going to be very revealing. Probably one of the most revealing sessions in the recent history in the country.
Sean's asking, is there an app we could use to gather signatures? Not currently.
Well, they are talking, the IC is now talking about a platform where you can do signatures electronically. So you can ask people to go there. But I mean, to print a form, to actually sign on the form, that is what is available right now.
How will the military system look at OHM? Oh, you mean when OHM...
Strong. Very strong.
We have some ideas.
Well, hopefully, remember, OHM is not going to run the country as a party.
But that's the other thing, Linda. If you look at our history, we haven't had military development since the 80s at all. It's really pathetic what we have as a country.
You can't be sovereign and not have a strong military in the world we live in right now.
Military and citizenry.
The citizenry needs to become strong first, and that's what Omega training will do. So once you have a strong citizenry, we will automatically be strong as a country. No foreign anything will come near us because we'll annihilate them. You won't need tanks and stuff to do that. Once you're done with Omega training, there's much easier ways of taking care of
all we have to do is unleash. We have to unleash the true South African spirit.
Yeah, the true South African spirit. Yes, that. We can take care of anything, people.
Correct, Grasshopper, and please let everyone know that. If you believe that, share that with everyone. I'm certain South Africa is ruled by foreign interests. Absolutely. And our governments and parties are all just puppets.
And so for the first time, there's an option now where you can vote for a party that wants to get rid of the party system.
So OHM will also cease to exist.
In the future.
Okay, so this is how it would be. We enter parliament, the bill gets passed successfully, the changes we want to make. Then with that bill being passed will be the new election date, which could be a year from the time or 2 years from that time. When that happens, all political parties will fall away, including OHM itself. And then our candidates have the freedom to stand as independents.
So we will be training people, and hopefully those people will become future leaders in the country and put themselves forward.
Yeah, which means some of you here could be future presidential candidates.
Yeah, or parliamentary candidates.
Councillors or mayors.
Councillors, mayors. Yeah. And you have to start thinking of it like that. But thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes. Join us on Thursday evening for those of you that are live chat members. The live chat members on the channel every Thursday evening. We will be covering the next thing. And what are we covering this Thursday?
Still up in the air for me.
You did mention a few ideas.
We're trying to go chronological.
Yeah.
We discussed like really ancient early creation stories.
Yeah.
So we're thinking of maybe moving into Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism.
Yeah, in that order.
In that direction, and then we'll eventually get to Christianity.
Yes. Yeah, because that's going to come with quite a twist. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, barcode ID is accepted, Avogadro.
Yeah, your barcode ID is fine, definitely. Hi, Rudolph. So, yeah, welcome. Please do watch the recording. A lot was discussed. The collapse of Amplats. Yeah, that is. Remember, our water supply in the country alone is a huge crisis. When I put out a video on that, no one is interested. Okay, it's not sensational enough. Why? I have no idea. When more than 50% of the drinking water in the country is not drinkable currently, officially, more than 50% of potable water supplied is not for human consumption. That is a serious crisis. Now we add to that we have contracted our economy in this quarter. We have massive job losses. So it's not just Eskom. With the attack on Eskom and the fall of Eskom that I said almost 4 years ago now will be a deliberate attack on Eskom. All the other things that come with that is taking place now. So the country cannot survive this unless the government does things. But they're sitting at COP28 right now. The standing CEO of Eskom is sitting at COP28, being a freaking politician instead of running Eskom. This is the problem. This is what the writer did. He was gallivanting all over the world, trying to put a renewable market in place in South Africa. The first speech he made as an Eskom CEO is to say that Eskom is finished. It's a dead horse. They've already made up their minds. You must understand the narrative that's being played out here. Andre de Ruyter was handpicked by the previous Minister of Finance. So when he was at NAMPAC, that is where he showed that he can destroy a company in almost no time. He took their shares down to 30%. Which was a massive indictment on the man. He was the perfect candidate to destroy Eskom.
It's like he's working towards a carbon net zero or something.
Well, that is all he was interested in. And then this whole just energy transition, there's nothing just about it. It's just a lot of twackery, words that they use. And I can tell you, most professionals within Eskom laugh at this nonsense because they are real power generation experts. They cannot actually believe what is happening. It's like they are flabbergasted. There are still really awesome experts within Eskom. I work with those people every single day. And they are highly skilled, highly trained, some of the best in the world, and they are handed no tools to expand what Eskom is doing. So just like Amplats and all these other companies would follow the fall of Eskom, because solar panels up in Gauteng is not such a bright idea when you have golf ball sized freaking hailstones falling out the sky. So what other alternatives do you have unless you put protection in? Areas are different. Propellers is not going to save the country. It cannot. And I will go into a lot of detail. I will discuss this with many people. I want to have discussions with the people that say the Cape must become independent of the rest of the country. I want to ask them how they're going to produce power for everyone. And once I do that, hopefully they will become educated and understand that things aren't that simple and straightforward. It's so easy to ask for something and not really understand what it means to do that. But in any case, we are now at an hour and 15 minutes almost. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you join us next week again.
Good night.
Good night.